Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Chair Talks podcast. We're here today to learn more about remote work. Well, fantastic. Today we are joined by a couple of employees who are from different departments, but all work remotely. So first up, we have Susie McGowan, who is a compensation analyst and faculty contract specialist. She works from out in New York. Susie, welcome to the show.
Hi, thanks for having me. Excited to be here.
Woo. And we also have from the other side of the country, residing in Washington State, we have Jen Jones, who's the Associate Registrar. Jen, welcome to the show.
Hey, good to see you guys.
Well, fantastic. So glad that we can do this magical world of Zoom thing here. It is the week before Halloween or the week of Halloween. So I'm wearing my Halloween costume. I promised I'd wear a Halloween costume for this podcast. And I think I'm dressed as in costume as a business professional. However, my coworkers said I was a character from The Office. Same difference in my mind, but I hope you all appreciate the holiday spirit here. I kind of look like a pumpkin. That's enough about me. So let's talk a little bit about Halloween, though, just to warm up. So I'm gonna go around the Hollywood squares and start with Susie. Susie, any favorite Halloween traditions?
I don't really have any traditions. They kind of change year to year. Uh, but there were a few years where I lived in a cul-de-sac and all of the houses would set out tables and they would have drinks for the people who were hanging out and giving out candy. But it was a chance for all of the neighbors to get together and socialize while they were giving out candy, and it also helped with people coming up to the houses. But that was really fun. So that's probably my favorite of the things that I've done.
Jen, how about you? Any favorite holiday or Halloween traditions? How do you feel about Halloween? Any favorites?
Yeah, Halloween is one of my favorites. As a matter of fact, I can put on a costume for you. Um, so one of my favorite things to do with our kids when they were younger, and they're now high school and college, but we would make um, candy monsters. Basically, you just take a giant marshmallow and you dunk it into some melted of the little melted um, candy chips of different colors, and then you put googly eyes on, edible googly eyes on them, and they become monsters. It's kind of fun.
I'm still just I'm just still in awe that there's a cow on the podcast. This has never happened before. I mean, this is the third episode or so. Breaking new ground here. Technology is amazing. We have a cow from Washington State on Zoom for our podcast. What a
I
deal.
suppose I can take my costume off now, though.
Let's talk a little bit about your lives as remote employees. So I'm here on campus, I'm working away, and so I don't see you all much other than on Zoom, and I'm not necessarily sure like what you're up to or how your day goes. So let's kind of mix it up. I'm gonna start with you, Jen, this time. So maybe just tell us a little bit about your day-to-day work as a remote employee. What does it look like?
Probably looks a lot like everybody else's day-to-day work. Get up, except my commute is, 5 or 10 paces instead of, 5 or 10 hours or 25 minutes. But get up, check in on email, get going on the day, check in on the projects I need to do, Zoom with our coworkers. Um, yeah, chat with them via the instant message. That's a big one. But yeah, pretty much a normal day, just like when I was at St. Cloud campus. So
I mean, any perks though? I don't know. When I do work from home, sometimes I usually do the laundry. Anything like that? You just kind of, I don't know. You have lunch out on your patio. You do the laundry. I don't know. Anything like that? That's a little new or different.
well, I don't have to go out for lunch, I go to the kitchen instead of to Subway or something. But so saving money there, but I guess. Yeah. But yeah, 15-minute breaks do allow you to change the laundry and, whatnot.
Cool. Awesome. And Susie, so you're out in New York. So tell us a little bit about your day to day as a remote employee.
I am. I'm out in New York, actually about 20 minutes from where Woodstock actually was held. So it's a fun little neck of the woods out in the mountains. Um, yeah, it's very similar. to being on campus. Difference being that a lot of the things that I do are data entry or data analysis. Um, so I have the ability to really focus and dive down um, and kind of get into a flow state when that's there because you don't have to worry about somebody knocking on your door. So it's nice for those. I do miss the hallway conversations, but also because of not having hallway conversations, it's probably slightly more productive at times too. Um, I get to have my dog as my office mate, so that's always fun. Um, but yeah, it's very similar. It is requiring you to have a little bit more focus. You have to be a little bit more self-disciplined, but it definitely gives you an opportunity to be in a comfortable spot, really dig in, really stay focused. But yeah, there are the occasional 15-minute breaks where you switch a load, and that's helpful. Um, but I would say not having a commute is also a fabulous thing. So it is quick to the desk, at the end of the day. Um, it's also quick to getting back to doing things in my own life. So it's nice.
Yeah, that makes sense. Short commute, got the dog there with you in the flow
Mhm.
state. I wondered though, do you ever get in the flow state and all of a sudden you look and it's 8:30 p.m. at night and you're just wondering, oh shoot, why am I still working?
That has happened. That has definitely happened at times, especially because I do try to work central hours. So I'm an hour ahead, but I keep all of my work clocks to central time because it's just easier for me when people are trying to schedule things. So there are times when I'll look at the clock on my computer and think it's one time, and then I get up and all of a sudden time has shifted a whole hour later. And it's dark outside when in my mind it should still be at least a little bit light out. It is helpful to have a dog because he will let me know when I am late to putting out dinner. So that's a helpful alarm clock at the end of the day.
I suppose, yeah, feed me. I'm hungry. Yeah. Okay.
Mhm.
Okay. I'm gonna go to you, Jen, for this one to kick us off. I'm just wondering about so community being one of our Benedictine values. Susie just mentioned maybe missing some of those hallway conversations. Is there an aspect of community that you miss or is different? Do you have any ideas for how we might be able to build community with remote employees? If it is missing, what are your thoughts on that?
I do miss some of the communities, but you also have to remember I never was on the main campus in Duluth. I was only on the St. Cloud campus, and we had a pretty close community there of the 4 or 5 of us that were down there over the years. Yeah, sometimes it's rough, but at least in the registrar's office where I'm working, I don't think that there's maybe been 1 or 2 or just a handful of days that I haven't been on Zoom with my office mates. So it's we keep in close contact and so I don't really I don't know. I miss getting to see people outside of my office because I don't do that very often. But inside our little network, we're pretty cool, pretty good. The one campus, one read has been good because I do that every year, and that allows me to see other people from uh, now that we are no longer in COVID, it's mainly just the other people who are also Zooming in from other parts of the country, which is kind of fun, or are not able to make it on campus for one reason or another. Um, but that's been good. So more opportunities of that nature. When we do trainings at Saints Institute, and I can zoom into those are good. That promotes community too.
How about you, Susie? What's been your experience of community? What's worked? Maybe any opportunities to improve community for remote employees?
Yeah, so I was on campus for my first year. So I do have that as my foundation. So enough people know my name, enough people kind of know my face. I was able to develop relationships during that time. Um, then the pandemic hit, changed things for everybody. Um, and I've been fully remote since then. Uh, I would say that I tried to build in 5 minutes or so, just to kind of have checkups with people when I'm having meetings with them, just to like have that moment to say, hi, how are you doing? You know, let's connect as people as well as colleagues. And then trying to get back to work. And now I would say the HR team is great about making sure that we, because a lot of them also work in hybrid situations as well, to take that time when we have our meetings to have a little bit of personal check-in, you know, acknowledge that we're people too, in addition to being colleagues, and to get that time is great. Now, one thing that I would love to see is a lot of the SAS seminars don't tend to have Zoom options to them. And I've asked, and it hasn't been an opportunity. But when we have offerings in that vein, if we had more remote options for us to go in to have those types of training opportunities, I think that would be great. I definitely join everything that I can when it comes to interacting with people outside of my department. I agree with Jen that seeing the people outside of my department is it happens least frequently.
Yeah, that's good to know. That seems like there'd be some opportunities where we could think about how to hit that gap and get some of those connections beyond the department. All right, so we're gonna end on a more fun note. So I'm gonna ask you about something cool about your region of the country, right? I don't oftentimes have a Zoom call with people from different parts of the country. Love of learning is one of our community values here. And so for the love of learning, I would love to hear just, I don't know, some fun facts or a description of your neck of the woods.
I mentioned earlier about Woodstock. So that's about 20, 25 minutes away from me, depending upon traffic. I am that area as well is also the inspiration behind Dirty Dancing. And also, if you watch The Marvelous Mrs. Maisel when they go away to the summer retreats, that's also my neck of the woods. So I am on the southern end of the Borscht Belt, which was the holiday vacation resort area in the 50s and 60s. And then my town's name is Narrowsburg, and it's named that because it's actually the narrowest and deepest part of the Delaware River. So it was a huge logging. It's also areas that provide most of the water supply for New York City.
Wow, that's quite a collection of facts. So it's a narrow and deep part of the Delaware River. I think it's the water from New York City, Dirty Dancing, some 50s, 60s tourism. Wow, I just learned a lot right there about New York.
Well, I am in Port Angeles, Washington, which if you take a look at Washington on the map, it has a little bump on the top left corner, and that's where we are in that little bump. So we are kind of in a cool location. The Olympic National Park is right in our backyard, nearly literally. We're probably less than a mile the way the crow flies to the visitor center for the national park. And we have awesome mountains up the hill from us, and we have the Salish Sea down the hill from us. So from our house, if you like peek through the houses, you can actually see Canada across the Salish Sea. And if I look up the other direction, I can see the peak of Mount Olympus. We used to be a logging town like most places in the Northwest with giant old growth forests. There's an Olympic marmot, I think is what it's called, that is native to only this area. So that's kind of cool. We have a tiny minor league baseball team called the Lefties. It rains a lot. And I've only once wished I brought my snowblower from Minnesota. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right. Well, that brings this episode to a close. I want to thank so much for taking some of your time from your various time zones around this country to spend share your experiences with us and help us learn more about you and your talents, which is pretty fun. And that brings us to the end of this Chairs Talk podcast. Next up is some other topic, some other people. I don't know who. It could be you. We'll see you around. Vivat, vivat, Saint Scholastica.